Power on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected. Daya Shabello, have you ever been gifted? Baby Reese's says hello too. Um, Daya Shabello, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I don't know what you mean by have I ever been gifted? I'm not sure what I know what you mean by that. I have been gifted in life sometimes when you think about it that way. I consider myself a reasonably lucky fella, but I'm not sure what you mean. Baby Reese, thank you. I appreciate it. I do my best. Micro humans. How long have I been drawing? Since I was a early teenager. So that would be from the early 90s. I was born in 77, so I didn't draw when I was a young kid. Most artists are always drawing from the time they were old enough to hold art supplies, and that wasn't me. But I have been drawing since I was a teenager. And I was a teenager in the 90s. Cariolifant 1980. You draw Gojo from JJK next. I have no idea what all of those words meant. I don't know what Gojo and I don't know what JJK is. But no, I'm drawing my own stuff. Thanks. Baby Reese, I can't even try. Well, thank you, Baby Reese. Thank you, Carrie Oliphant. Tasteful thickness. Anthony Joshua just knocked out Jake Paul. Guessing there was some kind of fight going, because I don't know what that's all about. I'm not exactly a big fan of Jake Paul. I know the name, and I'm not exactly a fan.
Simple is small business insurance you can turn on for an hour, a day, or a month. Thimble gives you proof of insurance the moment you need it, because you never know when you might book your next gig.
Yeah, Baby Reese, it kind of flexes back and forth between how many people are here. I've had up to 30 at one time, and that was most. Sheldon, what's up, dude? Yeah, I tried to make it look, you know, accurate, not like bullshit where somebody's just pointing a thing and not even looking at the direction. Trying to make it look like he was holding the weapon in like the appropriate way. Thanks for noticing that. A lot of people wouldn't notice something like that. Excuse me. Montoya, what's up? Oh, thanks, Monty. Thanks. Like I was saying in the video, I had two batches. I was going to do them all together, like a bunch of my current stuff. Which, if you've been watching my live streams, you've seen all of the stuff I was going to show. But this is kind of for other people who haven't seen it. But yeah, I just going through a bunch of that old stuff that I'd had that kind of has no future or use. So it's like, well, oh well, might as well show it here. I mean, why not, right? And like I was saying, there's a little bit of like some people on occasion start ragging on me like, what the fuck? What are you shitting on art for? You don't know how to draw. I'm like, well, I mean, I do. Whether it's any good or not is, that's subjective, but I do this stuff. I do. We all do. Well, thanks. I kind of like want to do more of them, but they tend to not get as many likes, or not likes. I don't care about the likes, but it's the views, and you know, so I try to spread things out. I both I like I said I like doing them, but then there's also that part of me that's like, ugh, I'm gonna put out my own shit out there, and people can look and laugh and see that I'm a fraud. But got to do it. I do think that speaking of art videos, um, I am kind of stupid because it hasn't occurred to me. But now that I've kind of familiarized myself with this built-in video editing program on my phone, I found a way that I can just. I've got a treasure trove of art videos that I can put up. I've got all my live streams that I've been doing for the last however long I've been doing them. I can just go scrubbing through them and find all the ones that I'm interested in, and then I can download them, put them into this video editing program, and turn it into a speed run, and take an hour or two worth of drawing and condense it down into like 5, 6, 7 minutes or something like that, and then I can talk about it. And then I might even start doing that and putting them out as additional videos per day to just show my artwork, to get it out there, because it's just a treasure trove of stuff just sitting there. It's like content just waiting to be used. All these live streams, I can just download it, turn it into a time lapse speed video, and then talk about the art, and then put it out there to show the art, to show people what I'm doing. And there's the additional help of more views to my channel, and hopefully more ad revenue to help throw a few bucks my way, because money helps. I was just like, I have tons of live streams of drawing, so I have all kinds of stuff that I could show. So that's something that's probably most definitely going to be happening here sooner than later. Yeah, I was actually wondering about that. I know that Mitch has done it, and I get it. Like, they don't get much traction, which sucks. But being that they just exist, and I could take and speed them up and just spend 5 minutes talking about it, why not? I'll give it a shot. I'll see how it goes. Um, Fucking commercials. Is I don't know. Maybe this isn't a proper place to bring it up. But is Mitch all right? I saw him post up that he had some family something come up, and he probably wasn't going to be posting for a few days. I'm like, I hope everything's okay. I've got his phone number, but I'm certainly not gonna like message him and ask. It's certainly not my place to ask. Guaranteed one view. Thanks, Monty. I appreciate that. I also know a way to get some views off of those videos, even though they may not get as many as regular videos. Is a lot of my live streams are me drawing like hot half naked girls, and let's be honest, that gets some attention. It might be clickbaity, but hey, I'm trying to grow this thing. I'm not above being a cheap sellout. Yeah, Montoya, you're saying he hasn't said much. Yeah, no, just hope he's all right. We'll all be around here and kind of, you know, got your back, dude, if you need it. Hopefully, if hopefully he doesn't need anything serious, like meaning hopefully everything's okay. But guess we'll just see, right? Gotcha life for I guess some of these names. Hello, how are you doing? Yeah, I'll have to hold down the fort with the content. I mean, well, I'm certainly not going anywhere. I don't know. My mind keeps coming back to like my 49th birthday's coming up. And in like 2 or 3 weeks, January 6th is my 49th birthday. And I don't know, I keep having these thoughts, time moving on, getting old, the loss of youth. You know, I keep remembering this line from um, uh, Star Trek Generations, which is not a great Star Trek movie, but for anybody who's watched it, there's that part where Captain Picard was talking to Troy and talking about the death of his brother and their son, his brother's son, his nephew. And he said to her, it's become very evident to him, or however he worded it, that there are fewer days ahead than there are behind. And I remember watching that movie in 94 when it came out, and those lines resonated with me like, God, what must that be like? And then now that I'm just getting older, I mean, turning 49 is not, you know, it's not like I'm gonna die, but you're getting on in life and shit's starting to get like people I grew up with are not around anymore. Actors and celebrities that I've loved and appreciated are dying off. You know, I'm not a young man anymore. I'm about to turn freaking 49. One more year and I'm 50. As a kid, I'm like, that's ancient. That's old man. That's half dead. 50 years old? Are you kidding? It's just frightening. And so I say all that to be like, there's a reason I sit my happy ass down here to draw all the time as much as I can because when's it going to end? Tomorrow? You know? Is my eyesight going to go? Am I going to have a stroke out and can't move again? I don't know. I suddenly didn't mean this to turn into like a dour conversation, but God, shit's just, shit's rough, man. Yeah, Shelby, say you just figured Mitch was chilling for the next couple of weeks because of the holidays. I mean, I hope that's all it is. He put up something. He had family things come up, and so he won't be able to post. So I kind of read it as not good. I don't know. I hope he's all right. Just had a big successful Kickstarter and everything. Like, the man's got work to do. Stranger Things lover, thank you. Montoya, he says Mitch put a short post on his Discord. I am. I'll have to go look. Sheldon can't move again. What do you mean, like can't move? Like, you mean just because of like getting old and not able to move like you used to when you were a kid? Thank you, Stranger Things lover. Happy early Merry Christmas. Yeah, same to everybody. Hope everyone's doing well and everyone's happy and healthy and doing okay. Oh, okay. No, I get you. Um, no, Sheldon. Sorry. I have never had a major medical event, but I sure can't help but think like sometimes people it just happens to them, just out of the blue. You think everything's fine, and um, and then suddenly, boom, something horrible happens. Um, and I'm a relatively healthy guy, but I am a husky gentleman, and it's something that I've been trying to like get a handle on forever, and I just can't seem to. My doctor keeps offering up the option for like, hey, I could prescribe you this Ozempic if your works insurance will cover it. And if they don't, it's like, yeah, it could be $200 or $300 a month. I'm like, well, I don't have that kind of money, and I kind of didn't want to fuck around with some new weird drug thing, but I'm turning freaking 50. Like, how long can I keep going and not potentially suffer some adverse side effects of health? So it's a risk assessment. And which way do I want to risk? I don't know. And I got to make sure I'm around for my children. They're only 13 and 10, so I got to, be alive for them for as long as I can. Yeah, gotcha life. Thank you for all your kind words. I appreciate it. Southside Ronin, am I looking forward to any new comics in 2026? I mean, no, not nothing new, but I mean, I'm looking forward to them continuing Battle Beast. That's been awesome. I am going to collect what the hell? Fucking the new David Finch book, The Skin Breaker. I've been enjoying that a lot. So I'll certainly be, getting that. Um I got a notification in my mail that the newest issue 3 of Youngblood is in the mail. And people are like, if you fucking hate these comics so bad, Rob, why do you get them? Like, I get them for the channel because it's content and those things get the views. So I'll have issue 3 relatively soon, so that'll be fun. Plus, I paid way too much for a copy of Last Blood, uh, the first issue, so I'll have that to chit chat about. Sheldon, just eat meat, drink water, and maybe small. I did the carnivore thing about a year ago, and I dropped like 35 pounds relatively quickly. Um, and it was noticeable and all that. The problem for me is it just got so repetitive. I kept waiting for this moment of like, I stopped craving certain things. But I just like eating another piece of steak or ground beef or eggs. Just was like, it got so old. So then I slowly started whittling my way out of it, and then suddenly here I am, not doing it all. Well, I mean, I do try to make a point to have more meat, generally speaking, but it just gets so old. Jerry Gaines, hey, you said you missed the last two streams. You yourself are trying to lose weight. I'm doing pretty good. A bunch of my clothes fit better than they did 6 months ago. Hey, man, congratulations. What are you doing? What's the um, how are you tackling that? I'd be curious to know. Portion control. There you go. Yeah. Sheldon, Blood Force, hell yeah. D in a jar, hell yeah. Battle Beast and One Punch Man. Add fasting to carnivore. Jerry Gaines, you can't eat as much as you used to. You get sick. I mean, that'd be awesome to be at that point. You're like, I don't even want to eat. Um, you know. Adam Brooks, you just watched my art video. You loved it. Thank you. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. We were talking about that here briefly. It was fun to do. I like doing them, even though it's kind of, you know, embarrassing and a little bit like, here's what I do. I sit here and piss and moan about other artists' work, but then again, now here's mine. But yeah, thanks, Adam. I appreciate it. I'm actually looking forward to Mitch getting my Masters of the Universe fan books and him doing a video on them. I'd be kind of curious to hear what he's got to say. You're going to say young blood because it makes you feel young by inducing rage. It definitely keeps you alive. You're like, I feel passion over this shit. Of course, Liefeld's talking about how I think he said he sold out of his third printing of issue 1 and the second printing of issue 2. Southside Ronin. Did you give Big Wars a glance? You might enjoy it if you like Skinbreaker. I don't know if I know what Big Wars is. It doesn't sound familiar off the top of my head. So no, I have not because I don't know what it is. Bug Wars. Well, still, I don't know what Bug Wars is. Yeah, Montoya, it'll be fun. I was trying to, I told them because I write a handwritten note every time I send those books out to people. Um, I was like, you know, review it, be honest, whatever you got to say. But it's also like, just remember, this first book was drawn like 16 years ago. So it's not like I was at my peak anything. Yeah, Adam. This is my brother's characters. I did a light box trace of this, like several of the drawings I've done recently. This is an old drawing that I did of his characters, where again I was really heavy handed with the inking, and I was doing gray tone markers on it that just ugly made it ugly. But I kind of liked the basic overall idea, so I just thought that I'd redo it and re-ink it and try to make it look tighter and better, and maybe he'll have a use for it. I don't know, because he's still making these books. This could be a back cover or some shit for him. I don't know. Jerry, I should be talking about this page. You said you liked the page. I don't know the characters. I've seen them before on here. They have an awesome '90s feel. Yeah, these are my brother's characters. Is what we were just talking about. My brother makes his own books, and these are the main stars of his stuff. Sheldon, you're on the third chapter of the first book, the climactic ending battle. That is kind of the what is it? The catalyst, I think, is what I'm trying to say for everything that happens in subsequent books. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying them, man. Like I was saying, I drew those a long time ago. That chapter 2 was drawn by my brother. The part with the Thundercats. Yeah, Montoya, just drawing is good practice. Yeah, I agree. And that's a lot of what this is. Just sit down and I need to draw. I want to draw. Got to make something. I should be doing my own comic. I've said that many times, but I'll get jumping on that soon enough. You know what, Sheldon? That is all on me. I originally, in fact, you can thank my brother if you're a fan of the '80s cartoons at all, um, and you don't want to see the Thundercats get slaughtered. That is my brother rescuing them, because my original idea, that is all my story. And I kind of asked my brother if he wanted to help me draw some of it, and he said he did. But my brother is a huge fan of Thundercats. Now, so am I. But this was a He-Man story, and originally Skeletor was going to kill all the Thundercats. They were all going to die, or if not all of them, then most of them. And my brother's like, "Can we like not kill them all? Can they like sort of survive some of them?" And so he basically talked me into it. But I'm like, Snarf has to go. And he's like, "All right, that's fine." He's like, I said, "I want Skeletor to just rip him in half." He's like, "All right, I can do that." So that's, that's all me. Jerry Gaines, can you name some of your comics outside of the Masters graphic novel? So if you're asking me if I can tell you about other comics I've done, no, because nothing exists. I have done some small works for small publishers that you wouldn't even be able to find the work. They don't even exist in printed form. Um, and I do have one that I'm going to be releasing soon that I'm working on. I'm waiting on the inks to get done. I'm going to do a crowdfunder on it, but I do not have any comics that I've done. That Master's End, the fan comic, was me just saying, I'm done drawing comics for other small time publishers because I was doing a lot of work for free. And I'm like, you know what? This has been fun. I've learned a lot, but it's time for me. Like, if I'm going to make comics that no one's going to read, I'd rather be making my own stuff. And so I had that He Man fan comic idea in my mind for years. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to make it. Like, why not? Why? I've talked about this, and I think a lot of creatives can understand. I think comic makers and storytellers, we always have ideas in our head, these story ideas that just occur to us. And they live in our heads and they die in our heads and they're never seen again ever. And I'm like, this fucking He Man idea, I refuse to let this one die inside my head. I've got tons of ideas that I've thought of that will never see the light of day, but not this one. The He Man story will be told. And so I made it because it was joyful to me. I wanted to make it, I wanted to share it. And and I saw it through to the end, 6 graphic novels. So now the next thing is something different that's, my own. But yeah, I don't have anything else out there to find. Yeah, well, I'm having the most fun I've ever had in my life. It's like I was saying, when I just decided to stop trying to like draw things for other people and draw for myself, it's completely freeing. I felt like I won the comics lottery because I'm like, I'm doing what I want to do, the way that I want to do it. And I don't have to be interpreting someone else's script and drawing someone else's ridiculous character for some small independent publisher that no one knows about and no one will ever see. So I get to do my stuff. And it was so like rewarding. It was so freeing. And then I still get some people hit me up like, dude, you can't own these characters, so why waste your time? I'm like, it's not a waste of time. I've spent all my young life trying to like under the hope that maybe I'll get hired or I can draw comics for a living. So I'm always pursuing like the goal of make samples and get hired by somebody else. I'm like, it's not happening. I'm going to die without doing something that I want to do. No more. It's all about me from now on. And you know what? It's been rewarding. Yeah, I agree. Follow your dreams at your pace. But I also suggest pick up the pace because, like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were here. Who the hell knows how long you have? Who knows when suddenly the ability to do this stuff is going to come to a screeching halt and you can't do it again? Maybe I get in a car crash tomorrow and I'm paralyzed. And all I can do is sit there and think about the shit I should have done. So, at your own pace, yes, but also like go, my friends, make, create. I don't think there's any world that exists where people will feel bad about the stuff you made, even if you don't think it's the greatest thing you've ever done. At least you made it. Yeah, being happy is more important. Yeah, yeah. And then again, I feel like there's also a bigger opportunity, especially with the interconnectivity of social media these days. If you create something you're passionate about, you just might have a better chance of getting noticed than trying to send in Spider-Man samples to Marvel. That might actually be the path to, like, all right, I'm not going to have Todd McFarlane's career, but I'll have a little bit of a fan base that looked at my stuff and saw it, as opposed to nobody. Adam Brooks, you give some great motivational monologues. Well, thanks, man. Uh, there was a time when I would have, like, there's no way that I would ever feel like I had anything to say that anyone would want to listen to, or that I could speak in a way that anyone would want to hear online. Because I'm a shy guy. I mean, like, I'm an introverted kind of comic artist nerd. I spend all my time sitting in my art room thinking about stories and dumb shit like that, as opposed to interacting with human beings. Um, but I guess I could kind of speak in a way that at least people kind of dig with my channel. And if I'm saying anything that feels inspiring or motivating, like, thank you. I don't know what else to say except thank you. It's you feel validated for having a thought that at least some people kind of like. I feel that. I understand it. So I don't know. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Sheldon, you thought if I could just get a job making comics, as I worked on samples for months at a time, right? Then I say people making comics on their own. I was like, there's nothing stopping us from making comics already, right? Just make them. Yeah. And I've said this. I mean, I know some people would say, just make them for yourself. I'm like, well, I guess I don't make these because I just want to have it done and have nobody see it. I make it for myself first because I want to tell the story. But honestly, I want people to see my work because I'm making stuff that I think people would like, and I would like them to see it. And some people won't like it and some people will. That's fine. That's the nature of the beast, right? But yeah, I want people to see my stuff. Like, I'm not just making this in a vacuum. Like, I'm going to make great works of art. No one gets to see it. Fuck them. I wish I could say I was that carefree and didn't care, but no, I want people to see my stuff, and I want to see other people's stuff, and I want to see everyone be successful, and I want to see everyone get their work seen and make a few bucks off it at the bare minimum. We all want that, right? We want success for everybody. Civil 180, thumbs up. How you doing? Also, another unexpected and unintended potential side effect of my channel is I hope that it's able to stay online. I mean, I don't want to say forever, but if I get older, okay, not if, but when I get older, and sometime I'll pass on. I would like to think that this is kind of a little treasure trove of information for my boys to see what their daddy used to do. It actually makes me a little emotional saying it like that, but I think about like if I could have some kind of thing when I was like 10 years old, and what was my dad doing at the time? What was he thinking? What was he saying? What was he motivated about? What was he talking to people about? You know, I would die to have something like that, to know what my dad was like when he was younger. And I keep having this thought of like, my kids will have this thing. They kind of don't give a shit right now. Like, they think it's cool. Daddy's got a YouTube channel. Daddy's a YouTuber. Yeah, yeah, I know. But they don't give a shit about comics or anything like that. But when they get older, you know, here's this thing that they could maybe go back and listen to their daddy and what he was doing and hear his thoughts and, you know, they'll hear him talking about comics and talking with friends and occasionally they'll run across like this one where he's actually saying, you know, years on, daddy was already talking about he was hoping that we would find this video and just be able to hear and you know, it's a little time capsule for my kids. So I hope that that's a thing. As long as the channel, you know, and the content stays up. And I know that they could go in and, you know, maybe they could go in and download everything, but Jesus, I've got over 1,000 uh, videos combining the uploads in conjunction with my live streams. Hello from Hamburg, Germany. Hello, how are you? Sheldon, did I enter any talent search or contest for comics? I drew up samples back when I was in high school for Liefeld and Silvestri when they were doing talent searches. Uh, excuse my hiccups. I don't remember if I actually sent any of them in. In fact, no, I know that I sent in the Silvestri ones. There was a Top Cow talent hunt, and I never heard back because, of course, they were terrible. Um, and I remember drawing up pages for some Youngblood stuff, but I don't think I ever finished them, nor did I send them. And then two different times for Wizard Magazine, there was a art contest. There was a which ones did I enter or try to enter? I know there was a cable cover contest for anybody who's old enough and remembers. I don't remember if I actually drew up something because I remember I took it very intensely, like seeing what the entries were that came through on those like Brutes and Babes wizard contest things that Bart Sears was doing, and trying to judge myself against the ones who came in. Um,
Literally almost everything. Really, really low pricing.
um, but that was it when I was very, very young. That was all. And then I just kind of stopped. I think I was like, I'm not good enough, and I'm not going to waste my time. So I stopped bothering entering any contests. And then I just kept doing my own stuff. And then once I kind of got online, I ran into some independent publishers, some indie book guys that like I was saying, I was drawing books for them, but then I eventually decided to, if I'm going to draw books that no one's going to see, I just want to draw my own shit. So I was just kind of working for these guys. And then I just decided, well, I'm done with that. I'm going to do my own stuff. So not really, not to the level like you hear McFarlane talk about, where he sent off 300 packages, and he thinks that they eventually just decided to give him a job so the guy would stop sending submission packages, which is funny. Plus, I live in Utah, so it's not like I had much of an opportunity to travel anywhere. I don't live in, California or New York, where comic conventions are, where editors were at. But I was never good enough anyway, honestly. By the time I was out of high school, the uh, the comic bubble had burst, and no one, like working professionals, were not getting work, and so kind of was irrelevant at that point anyway. I'd like to think that if I was of a certain age back in the 90s, and I could draw then the way I draw now, maybe somebody would have hired me, maybe, but maybe not. Who knows? Yeah, Monte, I hope my channel survives the apocalypse. You hear YouTube AI is deleting channels by accident? Oh my god, I'd be so pissed. Oh my god. No, so yeah, Sheldon, no, I didn't go to conventions. Because like I was saying, I live in Utah and there were no conventions here. Like no one gave a shit. I was way, way too poor to travel. And I was also kind of like, I didn't have anybody to travel with. I'm too shy and timid to travel across states to go to a comic convention on my own. I would have never done that. No way, no how. Too shy and timid. And it wasn't until, I don't know, 2012 or something like that, when a local comic convention started happening here in Utah, and it was huge. And so now they do it every year, and I go every year except this year, um, in terms of having a table. But no, I didn't go to any conventions because there was none in Utah where I live. What do I miss most about the 90s? Just the general kind of excitement of everything that was going on. But that was also connected to the youthful energy that was going on. You had to have been there, and you had to have been the right age to kind of love it. Um, but and if we're talking about comics, yeah, Jerry, I was just gonna say, I would say I just missed the '90s. I heard somebody jokingly say on a meme or something like that, like said something to the effect of, "Can we just all admit that the '90s were peak human civilization?" And I'm like, you know what? I think they're right. We had just enough new technology to have stuff be kind of fun, like video games and shit, but not enough to suck up our lives with social media and that type of stuff. We had great movies. We still wanted to go outside and play with our friends. Kids weren't locked inside all the time on their iPads. And I'm like, oh, I just had no idea how awesome it was in the 90s. I was a teenager of the 90s, so I got to experience it in as much as I grew up in a small town. But yeah, just the 90s in general, not even just the comics, but the entertainment. It's just an easier time. What do I think of the Absolute Universe from DC? I've only read the first issue of Absolute Batman. That's all I've read. I like it. I'll be looking at more for sure, but I don't have a hard opinion on most of it because I've only read one issue of Batman only. If I could choose to be a kid of any era, I might want to be a child of the 70s and a teenager of the 80s. If I could go back and choose to do it all over. But being a teenager of the 90s is not bad. That was just fine. Yeah, Sheldon, renting a video game, ordering pizza, your best friend gets to spend the night, and you're out Resident Evil 2 at a 12th. Dude, exactly. Yeah, we'd go to the Blockbuster or whatever and rent a game and or a couple of movies. You hang out, you got your pizza, you're playing video games, you're laughing and having the greatest time. Uh, GoldenEye parties. Not that I ever had a party, but there'd be several of us that would get together with what is it, N64 and play GoldenEye. Um, yeah, Southside Ronin, where I in Utah during the night. Yeah, I've lived in Utah exclusively all my life. The Bulls versus Jazz series was awesome. Um, I'm just pissed off because the Jazz could have been champions one year. I just wanted my guys, Carl Malone, John Stockton. I wanted them to win a championship just fucking one time in their life. And if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, they would have done it. But there's no beating Michael Jordan in that era of the Bulls. But the Jazz took them all the way to the finals, and that's the closest we ever got. But I really like those guys, the local team, and they seem like a good bunch of dudes. And I just wanted them to win one fucking, just once, just get it. But you don't beat the Bulls, you don't beat Jordan. You know, Jordan decides to turn it on. I mean, he's always on, but he might have an off game one night. But that's it. That's one night out of the rest of them. You missed the original Taco Bell. GoldenEye and Perfect Dark were incredible. I played a decent chunk of Perfect Dark. Um, it had some neat advances of the GoldenEye concept, but ultimately I just felt like it never quite surpassed GoldenEye. But it was certainly fun to play. But GoldenEye was one of those like unique games that just caught everybody. Fucking older brother would always we do the whatever it's called, the PvP, when we're just fighting each other in one of the environments, and my fucking brother would always play that character, Odd Job, the little short fucking twerp. And because he's short, you couldn't shoot him. Your bullets are always naturally shooting over his head. So you always had to like aim down to kill him. And eventually it was like, you can't fucking play Odd Job anymore, you dickless wonder. It's just a super unfair advantage. the character is just naturally short, and so your gun just shoots over his head. Like I can still hear those sound effects of those guns firing like in my head right now. You know, it was another great game on N64 was that Shadows of the Empire. That one we played a lot of. Want to tell you were a Sega household? Yeah, we were definitely the Nintendo. And then I had some buddies that had the Sega. What was the original? Was there a? Why am I? I can't think of it. The game system's name. Sega. Was there some name I'm just not remembering, or is it just the Sega? I remember these guys had that game. It was some game where you're a warrior guy, and then you could transform into these like mythical, like you could turn into a wolf. You like turn into like a werewolf creature and beating the shit out of monsters. That was kind of a fun game on Sega. Just Sega Master System, just basic Sega. Yeah. Altered Beast is what I'm trying. Yes, 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 yes. Altered Beast. Yes, I thought that was pretty awesome. There was some stuff that Sega had that I was like, that's kind of awesome. The sound effects and stuff. So I played that a little bit. Altered Beast was kind of fun.
When you book and travel, every detail is important. Carefully selected your flight and picture seats.
Man, did me and my older brother play the shit out of the original Super Mario Brothers and Mario 2.
So book your travel, then head on BLISS.com.
You like that Sega Genesis showed blood in the Mortal Kombat games? Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Jerry Gaines, just thought I would throw this out there. There are a bunch of old Taco Bell copycat recipes online. Hey, well, I might be making some Taco Bell. Um, but yeah, we played the shit out of some Mario Brothers, speed running through it with all the warp levels to see how fast. I one time I did it. One time I did it in one life, beat the game, zipping through the warp levels to go as fast as possible. But we'd take turns, my older brother and I. I'd play until I died, then it's his turn and he plays. But one time I busted it through right to the end, and I'm like, well. And then I thought Mario 2 was good, but it got too hard. And then Mario 3 was like the game of the day. And that's when I discovered that I'm not a gamer. I don't have the interest or the patience to like grind the shit out of some of these games where it requires you to do this insanity and then you die and you have to start all over from the beginning. I'm like, so I never got very far in Mario 3. It was fun. I remember the sound effects and the music. It's charming and just, it's one of my favorite childhood memories. But no, I'm not one of those guys that could like stand to grind it to get to the end. I don't care. I'm not a gamer. So that's kind of where my gaming interest ended. What you still had to input a code on NES. The blood was like shiny rainbow color. I don't remember. Yeah, the fatalities were always a pain in the ass. And then again, fighting games were another one of those things where I'm like I loved playing the arcade of the original Street Fighter. That was one of my favorite things. That was so fun. But then you just run into people that are just impossible to beat. I'm like, I'm doing my best here, and I'm not even coming close to beating this motherfucker. And I didn't have a lot of money. My family was poor as shit. So I was lucky if I had a few quarters in my pocket. So I was never going to be very good at it anyway. Shut the fuck up, commercials. Yeah, Mario 3 was overhyped from that Fred Savage the Wizard movie. Me and my friend. You know what? I got to say, that was a smart marketing gimmick because I remember watching that movie and liking it. And did it make me want to play the game? Yes, but I was going to play it anyway. So did it get me hyped up? Yes. Is it a cheap tactic for them to make movies to sell product? I mean, maybe, but no one's forcing anybody to buy no damn thing. But it worked. And to its credit, I have to say, as far as I know, Mario 3 was a very well made game. And that's all I kind of care about. It's one thing if there's a lot of hype behind it and we all get duped into buying a damn thing and it sucks. But Mario 3 was a good game. It was well constructed. And so that's all right. Well, it's a good game. I'm sure it made a lot of money. Yeah, that goddamn wizard movie where that kid, he's like, I love the power glove. It's so rad. Like you look back on it now as an adult, you're like, ugh, they're just selling shit to kids, these fuckers. You know what I played? I talk about not being willing or interested in grinding the shit out of a game, but there was one, um, that Ninja Turtle game. That's one of those games that's got a reputation for being ridiculously hard. But to me, it was hard, but doable. And I got to a point where I could beat it. I beat it several times. Um, but I'm not one of those guys that has the patience for like the Ninja Gaiden games. That fucking knockback when you get hit, the endlessly spawning villains out of the corners that come from nowhere. That shit pissed me off. But for some reason, that Ninja Turtle, the music, the drum, I was big into the turtles in that game. I kind of like let myself get into the story of it, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a ninja. I'm gonna show that I'm a badass ninja myself by beating this game, as a young kid. That game I liked and I could beat, but that's the extent of my like any kind of like, here's a hard game that I put the effort into kick its ass. And that one I could do. The first time you face Shredder, that was some bullshit. Yeah, Sheldon, the pop-up arcades where it's a nickel to play, got to pay a few bucks to get in, but like a nickel to play a game, hell yeah. Yeah. The Lion King on Sega was hard as fuck. I don't think I ever played that one because I mean, obviously I didn't have a Sega. Um, but yeah, arcade games. I was always into what are some of those other fighting games? So there's always Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but there was two others at least, but there was this one fighting game. I always chose this like Chinese guy that had like a long braid behind his head. I know it. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Tekken. That sounds right. Is that the one? They had like the Chinese guy. Was there another one? Maybe it's. I know there's Tekken. Not Streets of Rage. I remember Tekken, but I haven't played them in so long. I'm starting to get confused as to which one was what. Virtual Fighter, maybe that was it. Wasn't there also a game? Which one of those were there? Because I would play a character that he had nunchucks, and the nunchucks I think had a blade sticking out of the end. That was my character in that game, and I loved that. Virtua Fighter sounds familiar. That might be the one I'm thinking of. I'm gonna have to go look all these up. I remember the names, but I don't remember a lot of the details. Tekken, I definitely know. I'm confusing back and forth which characters were which. But yeah, they were. That was some fun stuff. Yeah, a lot of games after Street Fighter, of course, like when that shit took off. My guy was Guile. That was my player. Boy, I am not sure what to think about that trailer for that movie that's coming out. They made Guile look really weird. I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for keeping it on model, but Jesus. One of your favorite arcade games is uh I'm sorry, what's FPS? Carnival? Anybody ever play that game Splatterhouse? That shit was that just suddenly was at this there was this like burger joint that had an arcade in it that I would stop at on the way home from walking home from high school. And you know, it had Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Pit Fighter. I liked Pit Fighter, but that fucking Splatterhouse, this gruesome, like that shit was so cool. Oh, first person shooter, duh. I'm sitting here going, you know, I know what that should be, and they're gonna make fun of me because it's very obvious, and it was. Thank you. Yeah. You can tell that I'm not a gamer when I can't even decode first person shooter. Stop it, Montoya. Seriously, Pit Fighter had one of your karate teachers in it? I enjoyed that game. I could see why it didn't catch on the way that the others did. It was kind of janky, but I enjoyed it. I thought that there was some cool moves in it. I liked playing it a lot. It certainly wasn't Mortal Kombat, but I got sick of Mortal Kombat real fast. After number two, I was done. It got so over the top with the fatalities and shit. Like I'm done. Nothing's been more shocking in a video game than that original Mortal Kombat fatalities. Watching Sub Zero rip a man's head off with the spine, or Kano rip a guy's heart out of his chest. I'm like, how can they make video games like this? It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But then they just got so over the top with the fatalities, it lost all its interest. It's like, oh, they called down an alien dragon to rip your soul out and shit it out on the ground. It's not exciting anymore. It's kind of dumb. Pretty much stopped playing any video game after '07. You couldn't get anything. Yeah, that's another reason I don't play games. I've talked about this. If I'm playing video games, like I've got access to a PlayStation, I play Grand Theft Auto online, but I'm not like a die hard anything at it. But I'm not a gamer. I don't care about new games because I could see myself getting sucked into them, and I'd rather be sitting right here doing this than playing video games. Video games are just a distraction for me to kind of wind down and chill out. But if I'm going to waste time doing nothing, I'd rather be doing it here talking to you guys, honestly. Your karate teacher was the kickboxer. That's awesome. Jerry Gaines is about a demonic clown head and a carnival filled with evil creatures, and the ringleader is a zombie underneath his human flesh. Damn. Southside Runner. Would you watch WMAC Master? I don't know what that is. Can always stream playing a video. I've actually streamed myself. I did a live stream one time playing Grand Theft Auto. The trick is all I can do is like set up my phone some way to be pointing at the TV, and it was kind of hard to make that work. And it was just fun to do something different for a minute. But I'm not like a hot girl, so streaming video games for someone who's like a boring nobody like me, no one wants to watch. But it could, I might do some of it just for variety, just for fun on my own. GTA 3 still the best. Is that what, San Andreas? I gotta say, I used to have a charming kind of appreciation for those old GTA games, which I still kind of do. But after playing five, the current one, you're all waiting on six. I'm like, yeah, I even tried to go back. I hooked up an old system and tried to play it. I'm like, I can't. I can't go back. It's these graphics are just like I could go back and play old Nintendo games, no problem. Old 8-bit shit, that stuff's fun. But going back and playing, like I went to this big effort to get an old Nintendo 64, and I got an operating game system and controllers because I wanted to play Shadows of the Empire. And those graphics on my giant 64-inch TV look fucking atrocious. I couldn't play it. I'm like, well, I'll never be able to live that magic again. It's just not the same. But you put up Karate Champ or Mario Brothers or some shit, I'm all over that. That one works. That 8-bit stuff holds up, but some of that other stuff kind of could only work on a small screen. That's the only critique you have for me. I'm not a hot chick. I know, right? That's why I try to involve hot chicks, like having Jessica stream with me or have my friend, the little power lifter, or different things like that. But that is a valid critique. You remember the first I never played the first GTA, but yeah, it was a top-down game. You're driving. I'm like, I couldn't believe that was actually a GTA game because that thing was like, wow, they changed it up completely. There's one arcade game that I used to go to, this Nickelcade, like one of you was mentioning, and it was one of my favorite things to play. And I don't remember the name of it, and I've never seen it anywhere else, and I've never seen anyone ever talk about it. And I wish, for God's sake, I could remember what it is because it had some of the coolest music and sounds ever, at least to me. But I can't even remember what the hell it was called. But it was like a puzzle game where it was something like you'd start out with, like, all right, if this is your monitor that you're playing on, there was some kind of game grid board, and you're playing against like alien creatures. There'd be like some kind of like gross looking face with a bunch of brain parts hanging off it. And it's been so long I can barely remember, but it was broken down into like a grid, and you're like blobs of color. It was like blue versus red. And so like you're a blue blob and they're a red blob. And what you do is you'd like move the icon to move your blob from here to here. So you're taking up a space and then they would move. But then as they would get their red blobs here, if you would move, it's your turn and you move your blob next to it, it would then overtake their blobs, like the ones that are right next to it. And so the challenge of the game was to take the entire grid. So it sounds like a really simplistic game, but it was the sound and the music and the graphics that I just loved it, and I've never heard anybody talk about it ever. And I don't even know. I've tried to search it up. It's been a long time since I did, but I don't even know how to figure out what the hell to call it. But it was like you versus an alien creature, like an alien invasion or something. And if you solve the puzzles, that's how you beat them. Could be Mandela effect. Yeah, I would go to that damn Nickelcade and search out that game all the time and play just that. Cause again, puzzle, I was kind of good at it. And then like every time you do a good move, the alien blob in the corner would like recoil, like, "Rrrr." And then if you'd lose, it would play this like really dramatic music. And God, I just loved it. And then one time went back to the Nickelcade or whatever the fuck, and it was just gone. And I've never seen it anywhere. Oh my blob. That doesn't sound right, but like I said, I honestly can't remember. Let me. It was kind of more like graphics of like Nintendo 64 era, not early Nintendo 8-bit. So no, the stuff I'm seeing come up here is not that. Yeah, it's not that if that's what you were seeing. Dang. I mean, maybe Sheldon is, but it sure seemed like a very high quality game. One of the things I really noticed about it was like the sound system, the speakers had this deep rumbling thing, and um, like a lot of effort was put into it. Now I'm gonna feel motivated to go searching for it. Like, there's got to be some information on it somewhere. Eventually, maybe I'll get lucky and find it. And people be like, "Yeah, this is a game I saw. And no one ever knew what it was." Attacks. I wouldn't know the name of it even if you told me. So I'm gonna have to look them up. Um, I would never know the name of it if I saw it, or. I think that's it. You son of a bitch. Yes. Ugh, fucking commercials.
Really, really low prices.
We're at the Free Play Arcade here. Today we're at Free Play Richardson playing one of the greatest bar/puzzle games of all time, Leland Attacks.
Come on, like, talk about it.
Attacks is awesome and weird. An abstract strategy board game, somewhat like Othello, released exclusively at the arcades by Leland in a dedicated cabinet. Attacks fills an extremely unique niche in arcade history. In Attacks, each player begins with two pieces. The game starts with the four pieces on the four corners of the board. During their turn, players move one of their pieces either one or two spaces in any direction. If the destination is directly adjacent to the source, a new piece is created on the empty departure square. Otherwise, the piece on the source moves to the destination. After the move, all of the opponent player's pieces adjacent to the destination square are captured by the moving player. Now, there are a ton of game theory papers on attacks, but that's not why we're here today. Attacks is unlike nearly every other game ever released for the arcades. In fact, the entire presentation of Attacks was second to none. Engrossing visuals, an ominous soundtrack, and
Yeah.
perfect trackball controllers complete a captivating, dedicated experience. And unlike many games released in the early 90s, Attacks was not targeted at the burgeoning family entertainment center market. Instead, the game was unapologetically a bar game with a small form factor perfect to be stashed at the back of any awesome bar and grill. And further, with competitive gameplay that demands a friend, it also demands an awesome ice cold beer. Through its uniqueness, Attacks would gain its own lore. Computer enemies like Drool Man and Colony would become famous as Attacks featured some of the best puzzle AI ever found in an arcade game. Bar patrons would regale with their tales of climbing through.
It does exist. Yeah, I'm not just a crazy person. Thank you, Montoya. That was.
in arcade gaming, which
I would. I swear I tried searching for this, but it's been a while since I tried.
Where you'll find Attacks and another 100 of the world's greatest arcade games and pinball machines, all set to free play.
All right, I'm gonna have to look up more of this later. Yeah, all the sound effects and everything. Ice cold beer and games, right? Oh man. Sorry, this is not great streaming content. This is me just looking at shit that I want to see. All right, I'm gonna have to save this shit for later. Come on. All right, I feel satisfied. I got something that I was just dying in the back of my skull. Yeah, seriously. Um, you searched strategy arcade game with red and blue blobs. Perfect. See, I don't know what I was probably trying to put in when I searched for it, but I was doing something wrong. Yeah, I was really, really into that. It's a solid Christmas gift. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Jerry, you're having fun. You never knew about that game. Yeah, see, it's it was an awesome game in an era when arcade games were still the place to go for the really cool shit, for the best sound and the best graphics. Arcade games were the thing. But yeah, it would be fun to find a home version of it. Not an arcade version. It's all right. Sometimes the memory is better than the reality. That's what I tell. That's what I tell myself when I want to play this shit. I'm like, it's not as good as it used to be. Nothing's as good as it used to be. Yeah, you'll never see art streams. Rob's playing that goddamn game. Thanks, Montoya. He used to drop, now he's back playing that stupid game. Yeah. Game Pro Magazine, PS1, Atari 64, Saturn. We'll play all these games at home. The last game system I bought brand new was a Super Nintendo. Everything else I've ever played has been a hand me down from someone else. I've never, besides the Super Nintendo, been a guy to be anxiously anticipating a new system and buy it as soon as it was released. And Super Nintendo was the one time. Specifically because there was a Star Trek The Next Generation game that I really wanted to play, which I did, which was like kind of okay in retrospect. At the time, I thought this was great because it's the best Star Trek game I'd ever played. The Terminator game. Are you talking about like the? Wasn't there a Terminator game where you had like the? Where it's like a shooter, like you had some kind of like gun that would vibrate and you had to shoot things. I remember playing that a little bit. One of the other games that I was super into, I think most of us were for comic nerds, was that X-Men arcade game. That shit was awesome. And in the same vein, like that Ninja Turtle arcade game, especially if you get the one where you could have 4 players at one time. I pumped a lot of fucking quarters into those games. Yeah, that X-Men stuff. That was fun because it was the closest to like a cool animated thing for a long time. There was that Pride of the X-Men one-off, which I think was actually really, really good. But yeah, that arcade was like, this is the shit. I can play Wolverine and chop up people. Sheldon, you recently finally beat the Ninja Turtle arcade games. X-Men and The Simpsons were four people. Yeah, right. I remember the Simpsons one. I liked the Simpsons one, but I was less interested in a Simpsons game as much as I was the actual animated show, especially because I was into the X-Men and the Turtles arcade. Those were so fun. Yeah. Until I used to go to the movie theater where they had the four-player turtle game and they always blasted that theme song. Right? Oh, it was what a magical time, right? Because we were kind of starved for really cool alternate version entertainment games and stuff like that. So anytime they made like something that was pretty dang good, like it stuck out. Now we're kind of spoiled in a way. There's a lot of garbage out there, but now having no fear of blowing half my paycheck on beating any arcade of my youth, right? Simpsons Hit and Run. I don't think I've ever played that. Yeah, joystick. Yeah, those Mortal Kombat games I think took a beating because people were really hard on them, and everyone was playing them. Like I said, I liked Mortal Kombat up until the second one. That one I was into, but they're not called joysticks for nothing. Yeah, the four-player games were all very endings were similar. There's a couple of sentences and some freeze frames. Yeah, they really should have like invested in making the endings of those games have some kind of like awesome end animation story thing. Um, for all the time and effort we put into it, it's kind of just like a little reward for our efforts, as opposed to just ends, rolls credits. And you're like, well, you're done. Like, fuck. It was another game that we used to play. There was two games I remember. Even my dad was kind of into it. We would go find, I think it was Operation Wolf, or was another one of those like Uzis with a machine gun and you're shooting guys. For some reason, man, did we love that. And then there was this like, I don't know what to call it, where it's like a World War II airplane game. It's a top down looking at it. You play as a P-38 Lightning. It was called 1942, I think it was called. And we would go to this specific place. My dad would take us to this specific burger joint that had that arcade game there. He's like, kids, let's go play 1942 and get a burger. And that was like, it was so rare for us to get out. But even my dad, we had no money, but he still wanted to like go do that. And on those rare times when we got to do it, playing that fucking game, it was so fun. 1940, was it 43? Yeah, whatever the the one where you're top down looking at it. It's more like a space laser game than an era accurate, but that's fine. I'm not complaining. Not enough memory for the games. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Still pisses us off. I want some animatics. Make the ending of this game worth it. Just sons of bitches. Your cousin's husband had that in his basement. He played it for hours. Yeah. Super fun times. Aerosmith shooter game? That sounds vaguely familiar. That's funny to think that there was a fucking Aerosmith shooter game. I have vague recollections of it, like vague memories. That's hilarious to think of. Somebody must approach them and said, "Hey, you guys, shooter games are awesome. Everyone loves Aerosmith. Let's put Aerosmith and shooter games together." They're like, "Do we get millions of dollars?" They're like, "Probably." I'm like, "Sure, do it." Just shoot CDs like bombs. Moonwalker, the Michael Jackson game, right? You go around in that, wasn't he in that little white outfit with the hat, like in the video? Am I thinking of the right one? You can make video games out of anything. Yeah, I don't think I ever got to play it, like Sheldon saying. I don't think I remember playing it, but I remember seeing it. You got to dance everyone to death? Once again, I'm sure people came to Michael Jackson and said, "Hey, everyone loves you and everyone loves video games." He's like, "Do I get to make a lot of money?" They're like, "Don't you have enough?" He's like, "No, there's no such thing as too much money." Yes, Michael, you will make a lot of cash. All right. I'm actually excited for that Michael Jackson movie coming out. I hope it's awesome. Doing a lot of those biopics. I'm actually I like that. I kind of would like to see, there's a lot of biopics I would like to see on musicians and stuff like that. I know that they're not going to be 100% accurate, but even partially accurate, showing these musicians coming up with some of the greatest songs that we've heard of, like I have no particular love or interest in Queen, but that Bohemian Rhapsody I enjoyed a lot. Like that was like I was down like a clown, Charlie Brown, for that movie. Um, and then you read up on it, you're like, all right, well, they exaggerated some of this stuff, or the timeline was off, so they change it for story structure and narrative. I'm like, oh, all right, that's fine. But I want to see one on the Beatles, which am I? Is, maybe there's one being made. Um, I know there was that one with John Lennon. John Lennon. John. Who am I trying to say? The British guy that did the Lion King song. What the fuck is his name? Jesus Christ. Um, what are you gonna tell me? Elton John. Okay. God damn it. I knew there was a John in there somewhere, but I'm like, something's not right. Elton John. Again, I've never been particularly fond per se of Elton John, but there's a couple of his songs I'm like, this shit's good. I like this. And I never did watch that one. Um, Queen doing the Highlander and Flash. I've never seen that Flash Gordon movie. It looked awful, and I understand that's part of its charm. And so maybe one of these days I need to actually sit down and give it a shot. But I have never seen that movie. The most I've ever seen about it was watching that movie Ted, that Seth MacFarlane did with the talking teddy bear. Teddy bear. That's honestly where I learned the most about it. But I would almost watch a biopic on any major band. Do one on Aerosmith. Do one on Ozzy Osbourne. I don't fucking care. I just like to kind of see where these guys come from and like watching them come up with their music for the first time. Hell, I've only seen it one time, but there was that one about Biggie Smalls. I've only seen it the one time, and I remember liking it. I need to find it and maybe give it another try. Hold me closer, Tiny Dundee. Yellow Brick Road. That's the jam right there. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. I remember reading along the lyrics one time for that Yellow Brick Road song. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Some things I do not get. The story behind the making of Flash Gordon is better than the movie. Probably see the Biggie movie a little differently after the Diddy stuff come out. I mean, probably. You know what? I have to say, this reminds me when I think of the music video of this song, I think of the freaking the what was it, the Muppet Show, where he's singing this with the band Electric Mayhem playing the song like animals on the drums. Like that's the music video to this song in my mind. Freaking hilariously awesome. On a back toad. Is there a Diddy flick? I don't honestly understand everything that's going on with Diddy exactly because I've kind of avoided details outside of knowing that like there was like gross shit going on. I don't know if I want to know anymore. Do I want to know? Yellow brick road. Oh, like Cosby, but not just women and recording and leveraging. I heard some back and forth about like I've never fucking liked Justin Bieber in the slightest. Like he always seemed like a little douchebag. Uh like that shit when he first started was that music was not meant for me. That's fine. Then he seemed like he turned into a douchebag as he got older. But I seem to remember hearing that he got sucked into that world as a very young kid and that kind of fucked him up. And if that's all true, like I suddenly have a lot more sympathy for the guy if that's true. And that's insanity. Hollywood's disgusting. All this random talk, but by the way, kind of wrapping it up here for the night. Just kind of adding a few more touches. Obviously, I'm not done, but I'm gonna be as done as I'm gonna be for the night. Unrelated, but he sold all. Who sold all his music? I'm curious. We were talking about a couple of people, so I'm not sure. Shadows on the Crouching Guard. Cool. Well, thanks. That was. I didn't actually think I was going to get to this character, this figure, but I started. I'm like, I'll just start on the face, but I kind of was kind of liking how it was coming along. So thanks. I appreciate it. Bieber. So he sold all his music. So what is he even doing with himself anymore? He's probably wealthy enough that if he's smart, he should never have to worry about money ever again. But oh, Katy Perry. A lot of artists are doing it. Maybe they know secretly. They're Hollywood's been in with the alien overlords secretly for years, and the aliens have said that they're going to finally blow up the planet. So they're like, oh, fine, sell all our music and go, go to a Diddy party while you can. Maybe that's what's going on. And I, for one, welcome our new alien overlords. As a YouTuber, I'd like to remind them that as a valuable public member, I bring news and information. I'd be happy to serve our new ant overlords. Anybody have any idea what the fuck I'm talking about? Todd, what's up? Well, you're joining me just as I'm about to be done, so if that makes you feel any better. And I'm not up late. It's only midnight. This is early for me in terms of being up late. I'll probably be up till 3 in the morning, but I have hit my 2 hour mark on my stream, and that's usually about as far as I go most of the time. Nope, 2 more hours. That's your default. Well, you can't beat me up anymore for not getting to your second comic. You can beat me up for not getting to getting my volumes 1 through 3 of Masters End digital files found and pieced together. So I'm slowly knocking off all the shit you can beat me up for there, Todd, but I'm halfway down. Yeah, see, Todd just got here, so it's another 3 or 4 more out, right? God, this wasn't intended, but I was inking this girl's nose, and I accidentally gave it this little notch at the end of it here that wasn't there in the pencils, but I actually kind of like it. I don't know if you see it. It's a real subtle little notch at the end of her nose. I didn't try to do that. It was more of a clean line, but I got that little notch, and I'm like, oh, that kind of worked. Listen at me getting all excited over my own shit. It's not that great, Rob. Curses. It's a little bit funny. Excuse me. If I did about a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, who makes potions and travel and show you how. No, it's not my own, but it's the best I can give. My gift is my song. Yeah, Montoya, I actually saved it. So I saved the video to my watch later, so it's always there. So I won't be able to forget. So thank you. That was oh my God. Couldn't remember that thing for the life of me. But thanks for stopping in, Montoya. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to be wrapping up here real quick. Shockula, my dude. What is up, man? It's been a minute. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Same to you. Hope you're doing well out there, my dude. The happy accident notch nose. Yeah, I just that little notch right there gives a little bit of personality. Doesn't make her look unattractive, but it looks better than just generic bullshit nose that I had. Not that it's brilliant or anything like that, but. Buddy. Don't mind, I hope you don't mind. Wonderful life is. Wonderful life is. We just come for the music, not your art, Rob. Like, let's be honest. We all talk about it privately. We didn't know how to tell you, but you know what? We're sick of placating your dumbass. Fucking- So you're saying I play occasionally some decent jams. That's it. It's fair. The singing? I don't know if I believe that. Who would come for my singing? Oh, my baby gonna cry. Tight gonna have some afternoon delight. Motto's always been when it's right. Why wait until the middle, cold dark night? When everything's a little clearer in the light of day. And you know the night is always gonna be there anyway. Loving you is getting so excited. JMTS Robotics. What pens do I use? Well, I've been using a variety of them. I've been using the least tonight, but this is a Pentel pocket pen. Um, I was using also on these other figures this Micron and then this Tombow. This was the one I've done most of the inking with. on all these other figures is the tombow. And then the micron is for some of the smaller, finer lines. And then for these big sweeping lines on this one, this Pentel pocket brush pen is what I was using to do those big lines there. I actually use both, Sheldon. That one that I had there, I'm on my first package of my Tombos, and I burned up the soft tip one, and so I actually tossed it. So now I've been aggressively using my hard tipped one, but I've got like three more packages unopened. But like Chuck says, he prefers the hard tipped one, but I found the soft tipped one to be my go to. Just and that's why I used it up. It's all dead and gone. But yeah, I get both because they come in a package of them together.
Elijah Craig was the first to char oak barrels. It's an innovation.
If you want to hear me sing a lot, I could either play the Transformers animated movie soundtrack, or I could play the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack. I know every song, every word to every song. Trying to think if there's anything else out there that I know all the words to. Aerosmith Pump album. I could probably sing every word to every song on that goddamn album. It's one thing I've always struggled with. It's drawing these big full lips, giving it kind of that shiny lipstick having sheen that like Jim Lee and Silvestri always seem to do so well. It's always such a trick. I've done that a million times, but I can see what they're doing, but I still just can't. A lot of times, it's just not having the physical artistic ability to replicate the line work, specifically the ink line, and so it just ends up looking like a big fucked mess. Um, and again, these characters, they're all my brother's characters. Um, like this side profile is the main girl, Bliss, which again he got from a stripper. And then this guy, Kyle Seals is his name. He's basically just think of like the fucking the Terminator character, the first guy. Um, but also like played by Brad Pitt and being just the awesome, most cool guy you've ever seen in a movie. That's him. And then I don't know. These are just other characters that were in his book. Just some girl, some dude. I don't even remember their names. Sean Bean. You see, it's not even a thinner tip pen. It's getting the stroke. It's getting that Scott Williams kind of ink snap, and it's hard. I mean, I can do variations of it sort of here and there, but I don't know. It's always been challenging. There goes my old girlfriend, and there's another time again. All those late night promises, I guess they don't mean a thing. So baby, what's the story? Did you find another man? Sleep in the bed, babe. You don't look back, everything's got to fade away. Used to feel your fire. It's cold inside. And you're back on the street without your big piece of cake. Yeah. I was F-I-N-E fine. What's been doing time? Yeah, I was looking at that eye. I know I'm missing something. It's not quite there. As usual, you're right. Um, I am wrapping it up for the night. I'm actually putting all my shit away. But yeah, I gotta.
Bluetooth pairing.
Um, under the eye. You are correct, Amundo.
Power on.
The X's mean solid black. So, there's these wisps of smoke. So, in between here, these will all be black, and then there's a white part, and then this will be black here. And like in the hair, it'll be black. I'll do some brush work or something like that to give the hair some fine kind of feathering and through it. And, but X just indicates solid black area. Yep. Shit, I gotta still upload my video for tomorrow. I recorded it, but I haven't uploaded it yet. This is tomorrow's video, right there. Warrior Nun, Areolas. Not a great book. Why do that to myself? Because it's content and it's something different. I know I tend to do repeats of similar stuff. So I'm always looking for, and somebody sent me this book, so I got it for free. So believe me, I didn't spend money on it. But, and I actually have some stuff to say about it. I mean, there's some back and forth. I'm having a conversation about why do the creators, like, I don't know anything about the creators, but you're taking a very conservative-ish, like Christian concept and combining it with bad girl sexualized bullshit. So it's like, are they religious and just trying to they're like lying to themselves by doing the bad girl shit, or are they just interested in doing bad girl shit and attaching religious imagery to it? It's kind of a weird, it's kind of a weird thing, but Oh yeah, Liefeld. He did as a Evangeline, his half naked girl. In fact, now that you say that, this was the preview in here for an Warrior Nun Areolas and Evangeline crossover. So there's actually an ad in here for it. But yeah, Liefeld had his Fallen Angel girl. Huge series of Evangeline. It was just a bunch of bullshit. But again, it's just different content. But it brought up stuff that I kind of wanted to talk about. Plus, there was some weird storytelling things going on in here that I kind of think they could have done a little bit better. And so I kind of give my opinions on, like, some page layout weirdness and an opening splash page, which I think conceptually is interesting, but I think they really fucked it up with these terribly drawn eyes. But I also feel like the creators were really trying to do good work. I don't feel like this was a half-assed thing. I feel like they were really trying to make something good. I just don't like it. Anyway, I got to be done. I'm done. I'm done. I've been saying that for like half hour. All right, I'm gonna bounce, y'all. No, Sheldon. I thought about it, but I'm not interested in those characters enough, and I didn't want to send any money Liefeld's way. So, um, yeah, I was not interested. All right, Jerry. Thank you for hanging out, Jerry. Appreciate it. Sheldon, Todd, all y'all.